Harris calling to congratulate me and ask how she could help. She helped me bring back on track to Maryland. And wouldn't you know it, crime went down and economic growth went up. Back on Track is now a national model. Now Donald Trump says if Kamala Harris is elected, tough guys will treat her like a play toy. Do you know who else thought that? The drug cartels she busted, the big oil companies she made pay for polluting, the big banks that she made pay $20 billion to homeowners they ripped off. Getting justice for others isn't a power trip for her. It's a sacred calling. And hear me, Kamala Harris knows how to keep criminals off the streets. And come November, with your help, she'll keep one out of the Oval Office. Ever since Donald Trump rode down that ridiculous escalator, we as a nation have felt trapped. Every national decision has been made in reaction to this one man and his extremist MAGA movement. We are still frozen by the fear that Donald Trump might once again come to power. And it's not just our politics that have been trapped, it's our imagination. And then Kamala came along. Kamala has reminded us that we don't need to fear anything, not the future, and certainly not that man. This is our moment to leave Donald Trump where he belongs, in America's past. We stand with Kamala Harris because we as a country are not going back. For the ancestors who sat at lunch counters and made sure that we all had the right to vote, we are not going
Yo,
back.
is it already online? God damn it. I need to get my shit together.
To make sure that women could control our own bodies. We
What up, y'all?
are not going back. For the parents
Yeah, I'm breaking on my
who
son.
work from can't see in the morning until can't see at night. Not so that they will have a better future, but so that their children will
What up,
have
everybody?
a better life. We are
watching the
not
DNC.
going back.
We checking this out.
When facing an obstacle, my father has often said to me, your faith is stronger than your fears. Tonight, our faith is stronger than our fears.
I'm totally enraptured. Nah, man, I'm trying to get this stream stuff right. I know that the chat isn't showing up right now, and I'm just kind of like annoyed by that.
Faith that we, the people, can choose a new leader, a better future for the people.
Is that gonna work?
Faith that as dark as our days and challenges have sometimes felt, it's always darkest before the dawn. We know
for some reason
that we can endure for a night because joy cometh in the morning. Morning is coming. Morning is coming.
Oh, she's calling back to morning in America.
Will be led by Kamala Harris. Thank you so much.
Chat's working in YouTube? Yeah. I'll get the chat working eventually on screen as well. At some point.
Please welcome Mesa, Arizona Mayor John Giles.
Oh shit!
Angela Alsobrooks, who's running for the Maryland
John
Senate
Giles.
seat.
I'm
Let's
good
head
on
down
you,
to the
PBS
floor
NewsHour.
where
Thanks.
Laura Barone
I don't need your.
Lopez
I'm good.
Laura,
I'm good. See PBS NewsHour. You don't need to sell me PBS NewsHour. All right, let's go to like I guess let's just go to Kamala Harris's mainstream. Oh.
So I feel
it's the Republican guy
tonight, but I feel more at home here than in today's Republican Party. The grand old party has been kidnapped by extremists and devolved into a cult. The cult of Donald Trump. Trump doesn't know the first thing about public service.
Twitch. I'm on YouTube for right now. I'm gonna get Yellow Duck eventually and then stream on both. But for right now, I'm just on YouTube.
An adult in the White House.
I am on Twitch. If you want to follow me there, it's just Red Rapper. And then eventually I'll jump on and use that more.
Growth, American manufacturing reborn, a secure border. Turns out Donald Trump was all talk. He wanted our votes, but he couldn't deliver a thing. But these days, my city of Mesa, Arizona is on the move. I'm going to ribbon cuttings every single week.
Ribbon cuttings?
All because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris reached across the aisle and they delivered for my conservative community.
I'll be very real. This guy's good. This guy's good because everybody else I see doing this kind of shit is like just reads these things like a bad book report.
Party. And that's how Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will lead too. I have an urgent message for the majority of Americans who, like me, are in the political middle. John McCain's Republican Party is gone, and we don't owe a damn thing to what's been left behind.
It's very clear that a lot of these speakers were booked when Biden was around because they were trying to do the whole, like, you know, bipartisan thing. This feels very like, oh, this guy was booked when the Biden thing was happening, but he's good. He's solid. I like he's speaking forcefully. It's cool.
It's our dream to have a large family.
Being a parent, it's the most.
Arizona's pretty pissed, man. It feels like it.
Americans have turned to
running all over with giant scissors. Yeah. That motherfucker has so many giant scissors.
The fact that she was able to build a family.
I want a Souls-like game with that guy and a pair of giant scissors.
I don't know how this would have been.
What's up, everybody?
IVF treatment gives many patients an opportunity
What's
to
up?
have a family.
I love.
Give me a second. I'm gonna get up and look fat for a second, and as I turn on my fan because it's like hot in here.
To be pro-family wants to put a stop to this. They are attacking the right to expand and start a family.
It's unthinkable.
They may never have the family that they've dreamt of.
In the U.S. Senate,
Republicans blocked a Democratic bill that would have established protections for in vitro fertilization.
Mr. Vance, no.
These guys are killing it with the ads, though, too, I think. They're doing really, really well.
This would have been a simple yes vote.
Family means support.
To me, family is your whole world. It's the life that you build.
That lady looked over at her husband like, it's your turn.
It made my heart whole.
It made my life full.
It made my life full.
And it made my life full.
And we will always fight for you, for your family, for your freedoms, and for your future.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz honor the freedoms of all families to make decisions about what is right for them, for this generation and generations to come.
Chat, rate that ad 1 through 10. I want to see opinions. I want to see feelings.
Please welcome Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth.
No body shame. Body shaming myself. It's my body dysmorphia. Man, the chat is mad delayed. You guys are on a mad delay, but it's okay.
Hello, Chicago.
Or are you? Oh, that's great. 6, 7.
You know,
What's up, anti-corporatist?
You know, I went to war.
You're not a fan of what they did to my follower page on the mobile app? I can rework that. That's on my end. So let me know what I need to rework, and I'll make that happen.
Draft-dodging coward like
Oh,
Donald
shit.
Trump tries to take away.
Spit, Tammy. Spit. Let them
tries
fucking
to
know.
Take away my rights and freedoms in return, especially when it concerns my daughters.
If chat is delayed,
My
read this out, and I'll
girls,
give a count in seconds for
gamer
how long
girl
it took.
Abigail
There
and
you go.
Queen of the Monkey Bars, Miley, are everything to me. But they would never have been born
Sup,
without
Canada?
access to reproductive care. Because
Yo, Tammy Baldwin can
after
spit, man.
10
Tammy Baldwin's dope.
years of struggling with infertility, I was only able to have them through the miracle of IVF.
20-second delay, yeah.
But now, Trump's anti-woman crusade has put other Americans right
It's
to
okay.
have their own families
20 is
at
not that
risk.
bad. If it was a minute, I'd be fucking mad.
Because if they
okay.
win, Republicans
Hi,
will
Danny
not
Miller.
stop at banning abortion. They will come for IVF next. They'll prosecute doctors. They will shame and spy on women. And if you think that's far-fetched, just look up what happened in Alabama last year. So let me say to every would-be parent,
Go for it.
I see you. I'm with you. And together, in November, we'll send a message to old Cadet Bone Spurs.
Yeah, they're saving a lot of the big guns for tonight.
Stay out of our doctors' offices, and while you're at it, out of the Oval Office too.
See, like yesterday was a lot of people reading like these very basic speeches in like
Look,
very. I mean, I don't know.
my
I mean, the Hillary Clinton
struggle
speech was
with
all right, but like
infertility
there was a lot
was
of
more
kind of mid
painful
speeches. Steve
than
Kerr
any
was great,
wound I earned on the battlefield.
but today's a lot better.
So how dare a convicted felon like Donald Trump treat women seeking health care like they're the
This
ones
DNC is
breaking
great,
the
but it's
law?
just it's a DNC.
How
It's like
dare J.D. Vance criticized childless
this is much
women
better.
on
I'm
cable
liking this.
news,
Yesterday was kind
then-
of okay to me. Steve Kerr
then
was cool.
vote
but-
against legislation that would have actually helped Americans to start families. How dare the GOP endanger the dreams of countless veterans whose combat wounds prevent them from having kids without IVF, punishing our heroes for their willingness to serve. It's simple. Every American deserves the right to be called mommy or daddy without being treated like a criminal. Kamala Harris believes that.
Yeah, the delay's on iPhone
So,
quite a bit. I know.
Let's make some
I think it's because of the
history
resolution.
and
I can
elect
stop
her
and
in
restart. I
November.
may do that
God
before
bless
Barack
America.
Obama's speech. But stick around with me. I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna chill. Unless he just comes out right now. It's like, what's up, y'all? Phil texted me that he was going to be at the DNC like a week ago. And I was like, oh, that's so sick, because we were talking about the Olympic game. I was like, yo, did you see this fucking game? And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm late talking to you. I'm going to the DNC. Also, that game was insane.
They think he walks on water.
But like, I was like, he was like,
This
there's
is
an
what he
off
wore to
chance
his
I get interviews, and he
Here's him at
interviewed
summer
Josh
camp.
Shapiro yesterday. So I'm
They
like, all right,
voted
bro,
him most
you're
athletic,
cleaning up.
So he says. This is a photo McDonald's used when he was Employee of the Month. It hung on our wall for years.
Oh, it's Doug Emhoff?
My dad is a lawyer, a really good one. My mom called him the crisis guy because he was everyone's first call.
Let's go, crisis guy.
My parents split when I was in middle school, and that wasn't easy. That's not easy for any kid. But it helped that my parents stayed friends, and we all kept hanging together. We grew closer than ever. And then he met Kamala, the blind date that would dramatically change all of our lives forever. It was my senior year of high school. Ella and I would laugh watching them fall in love, acting like teenagers. In 2014,
that's cute.
Kamala became Mamala.
That's
He
I don't
took
like that
over
line
Sunday
though,
night
but I get
dinners
it.
And taught Doug how to actually cook. Our blended family wasn't used to politics or the spotlight, but when
Let's
Kamala
go,
became
Doug.
senator,
Let's
we were
go,
all
Doug.
excited to step up, especially my dad. Then Kamala became vice president.
I bet you if Doug
felt
grew
like
the
Doug
stubble
was a bit out of
and
place on Capitol Hill.
hit the gym, he
I
would be
thought,
like
what
he
is
would be
my
like
goofy dad
like
doing
rugged, That would be even more of a
He embraced it.
Of a fuck you to
He left his practice after being a lawyer for 30 years. That was tough.
Let's go, Doug.
I was so proud to watch him do it, to stand by her side, an example of true partnership. I just got married myself, and he's inspired me as a new husband.
Oh, shit.
Anyone who really gets close to him knows he's kind, loving, and fiercely protective.
Oh, shit, bro.
Just look at this face. This is my
Let's go.
dad, the first second gentleman in the history of this nation. He's found his voice around the issues that matter.
Zed, where are you getting the broadcast? Because the YouTube channel is good. All the others are behind for about 20 seconds.
There is an epidemic of hate, including
yeah, I mean, like,
of anti-Semitism.
I'm getting
in
mine
our country
at
and around the world.
the Kamala
What
Harris
they are doing on reproductive
YouTube channel?
freedom and freedom in general is just outrageous.
What are my thoughts on the Free Palestine March on DNC? If you want to wait to give it
again.
I mean,
as the first
necessary.
Gentleman.
Free Palestine, free Gaza. You know, arms embargo, ceasefire.
To get to know why
It's necessary to pressure. Look, like, I don't think that there's a world where I think being an absolutionist is ridiculous. Like, if you look at what the uncommitted movement is doing, if you look at what Rashida Tlaib is doing, and a lot of people within the party, like, there's the Hollywood corporate part of the party that's fighting to try to push for more work on Gaza, and then there is the grassroots part, right? And the grassroots part, like the uncommitted movement and the protests outside the Democratic National Convention, are effective. They are doing what they're supposed to do, right? They are making sure people are focused on those issues, right? While at the same time not making it look, it's not messy, but it's meant to be like the issue is the most prevalent. Does that make sense? Like, nobody's talking about all the people who are trying to make it into like there's riots in the streets. That shit's not going off. Like, the main thing people are talking about is specifically what's going on with Netanyahu, specifically how Netanyahu is fucking sabotaging talks. Those are the headlines, and those protesters are bolstering it. The uncommitted movement is bolstering it, and even within the party, if you can see, like, the people play through like Pablum and I know I'm talking over Doug here, but people play through Pablum and Signals whenever they're trying to move policy in the corporate world. It's really fucking stupid. That's the way they do it, but that's the way they do it, and it's working so far. The fact that you see less nuanced language, like the fact that you're seeing more pushes in language throughout the night about Gaza, it's not enough. Of course it's not enough. Corporate moves the pace of a snail, right? But it means that it's impacting. It needs to move faster, and that's kind of a criticism of how our system is slow as fuck and isn't effective at addressing major causes like this like it needs to. But yeah, I think the protest movement is doing what it needs to do.
Well, we just saw where she is. She's out on the trail, listening to and talking with voters. Honey,
Zed being like the first gentleman, gotta get your aura up. I gotta get that up. I gotta get it up.
Time here.
Oh, Pete is speaking tomorrow? Pete's gonna kill it, dude.
I love you so much. I'm so proud of how you're
42 Doug fans in the crowd. Yep.
But that's who she is. Wherever she's needed, however she's needed, Kamala rises to the occasion. And
I'm sorry to hear that as a corporatist about your dad.
And now that the country,
you know, my dad passed last year. It was really fucking tough, man. I know how hard it is, man.
She's ready to lead.
Yeah, man. I hope you're doing okay,
She brings
anti-corporatist.
both joy and toughness to this task, and she will be a great president we will all be proud of. Now, I'm the son of two Brooklynites, Mike and Barb. They've been together almost 70 years. My dad worked in the shoe business in Manhattan, and he moved our family out to New Jersey. Where's New Jersey?
There we go.
I see you out there.
I hate the rhythm. Like, when people have this slow-ass rhythm, I get it.
In a lot of
Screw the
ways,
slow-ass rhythm. Just talk.
I had a typical Jersey suburban childhood. I biked around the neighborhood.
First in the house is to be named Doug. Crazy.
And I rode to Little League practice in the way back.
Lost your mom in 2020, and it's still tough hanging there, Zed. Genuine condolences. Oh, man, that means a lot. Thank you so much, Wednesday and Lady Blair.
Slurpee after. In my neighborhood, everyone left their garage door open. Wherever you ended up at dinner time, that's the family that fed you.
Wait, everybody in your neighborhood left their garage door open? First off, I grew up in Irvine. That was considered a safe, and no one would leave their garage door open. That's crazy.
The group chat is active every day, and it's probably blowing up right now, guys. When my dad had to get a new job, we moved across the country to LA. Money was tight. Hey, California.
Let's go. I wanted to stream the roll call. The roll call was lit, bro. Let's go. Playing California Love and then They Not Like Us. That's fire. Didn't get low, Lil Jon.
Was I Employee of the Month, but I still have the framed picture, which you just saw, and there was a ring, golden arches and all. And then I waited tables, parked cars. I was working full time so I could afford to go to college part time. And thanks to partial scholarships, student loans, and a little help from my dad, I got myself through law school. And I got my first job as a lawyer.
My rap brain cannot handle slow flow time signatures, man. It's a lot for me, man.
In my fantasy football league.
I'm like, go.
And
you're missing the beat.
A lot has changed in our lives.
It's all quarter
since the early
notes.
90s, but my team.
Tell me if the volume is okay, guys. If I'm too loud, or if you want the thing more louder, okay? Because I want to make sure you guys are having a good time.
I worked hard, and I love being a lawyer. And by the way, I still get to be part of the profession by teaching students at Georgetown Law School.
Oh, Ultra David went to Georgetown.
I got married.
What's up, James Fox?
Dad to Cole and Ella.
Jamie Foxx, what's up, bro?
Unfortunately, I went through a divorce, but eventually started worrying about how I would make it all work. And that's when something unexpected happened. In 2013, I walked into a contentious client meeting. We worked through the issue, and by the end of the meeting, the now happy client offered to set me up on a blind date, which is how I ended up with Kamala Harris's phone number. Now, for generations, people have debated.
I'm plenty loud enough. Should I turn myself down? I can if I need to. Just let me know.
And never in history has anyone suggested 8:30 a.m. And yet,
it's charming.
That's when I dialed. I got Kamala's voicemail, and I just started rambling. Hey, it's Doug. I'm on my way to an early meeting. Again, it's Doug. I remember I was trying to grab the words out of the air and just put them back in my mouth. And for what seemed like far too many minutes.
Doug, a bit louder. I got you.
By the way, Kamala saved that voicemail. And she makes me listen to it on every anniversary. But that message wasn't the only unusual thing about that day. Now, Kamala, who normally would have been working hard at her office, just happened to be waiting at her apartment for a contractor to do some work on her kitchen. I was eating at my desk, which was not a regular occurrence for a busy lawyer like me who appreciated a good business lunch. But that's when she called me back. And we talked for an hour, and we laughed. Well, you know that laugh. I love that laugh.
Cute. Cute. Cute.
And maybe
petition to have the Doug theme song, like the from Nickelodeon, like
it was that Saturday night when I picked her up and told her,
every time this dude
buckle
comes
up, I'm
through.
a really bad driver.
I believe that.
You can't hide anything from Kamala Harris, so you might as well own it. And as I got to know her better and just fell in love fast, I learned what drives Kamala. And it's what you've seen over these past 4 years, and especially these past 4 weeks. She finds joy in pursuing
justice. No, you haven't missed
justice.
the Obama's joy.
She stands up to bullies just like my parents taught me to. And she likes to see people do well.
Obama and Michelle on the back like two Street Fighter top players just ready, like, yeah, we're going to fuck this shit up.
Curiosity and just how people are doing. Her empathy is her strength. Over the past decade, Kamala has connected me more deeply to my faith, even though it's not the same as hers. She comes to synagogue with me for high holiday services, and I go to church with her for Easter. I get to enjoy her mom's chili relleno recipe every Christmas, and she makes a mean brisket for Passover. It brings me right back to my grandmother's apartment in Brooklyn, you know, the one with the plastic-covered couches.
I think that's a way more significant moment than people are giving it credit for. That's like
her whole career.
How many times in American politics over the last few years have you seen an interfaith couple? That's crazy.
Which is so personal to me. And those of you who belong
to
blended
that's actually
families
pretty wild.
know that they can be a little complicated. But as soon as our kids
Challenge to
started
work the
calling
Doug
her
theme into the new
Mamala,
FSTN. I can't do that.
I knew
because
we'd be okay.
I'll get struck, copyright struck. I would love to though.
Ella calls us a three-headed parenting machine. Kamala and Kirsten, thank you both. Thank you both for always putting your family and the kids first. Now, Cole and Ella's friends knew that when they'd come over for Sunday dinner with Mamala, it was going to be real talk. In between taking cooking instructions, they'd have to answer questions about what problem they wanted to solve in the world. They learned that you've always got to be prepared because Kamala is going to prosecute the case. And in the same breath that Cole and Greenlee told us that they were engaged, they asked Kamala to officiate their wedding. And in the same way that she always steps up when it matters, Kamala put so much time into those remarks, and she bound them in a book that matched her dark red dress, and then turned that into a gift for the happy couple.
It's cute.
A few days ago,
I think he's
during this incredible time.
He's like an adorable side because Kamala's supposed to be fierce. He's
Kamala was
adorable.
back at home, and I saw her sitting on her favorite chair. And in the middle of a wild month, I just hoped that she was having a quiet moment to herself. But then I realized she was on the phone. And of course, my mind went to all the potential crises that the vice president could be dealing with. Was it domestic? Was it foreign? Was it campaign? I could see she was focused. And all I knew was that it must be something important. And it turns out it was. Ella had called her. That's Kamala. That's Kamala. Those kids are her priorities, and that scene was a perfect map of her heart. She's always been there
The
for
black
our
cat and the
children,
golden retriever. Yep,
and I know
100%.
she'll always be there for yours
He
too.
is the dog from Up, in like a good way. I mean that as a compliment. He is 100% the dog from Up.
Kamala is a joyful warrior.
Who is also named Doug.
It's doing for her country what she has always done for the people that she loves. Her passion will benefit all of us when she's our president. And here's the thing about joyful warriors. They're still warriors. And Kamala is as tough as it comes. Just ask the criminals, the global gangsters, and the witnesses before the Senate Judiciary Committee. She never runs from a fight. And she knows the best way to deal with a coward is to take him head on. Because we all know cowards are weak, and Kamala Harris can smell weakness. She doesn't tolerate any BS.
I appreciate
You've all
you.
seen that look, and you know that look I'm talking about. That look is not just a meme. It reflects her true belief in honest and direct leadership. And it's also why she will not be distracted by nonsense. Kamala knows that in order to win, we cannot lose focus.
When he gets hype, he's more like,
election,
oh, you know, my girlfriend is such a badass. My wife is so cool.
I trusted Kamala with our
It's
family's
cute.
future.
It's cute. I mean it in a genuine way.
I ever made. This Thursday will be our 10th wedding anniversary.
Let's go, Doug. Let's go, Doug.
I know it means I'm about to hear that embarrassing voicemail again. However, that's not all I'll be hearing. That same night, I'll be hearing my wife, Kamala Harris accept your nomination for President of the United States. And with your help, she will lead with joy and toughness, with that laugh and that look, with compassion and conviction. She'll lead from the belief that wherever we come from,
He's a wife guy,
whatever we look like, we're strongest when we fight for what we believe in, not just against what we fear. Kamala Harris was exactly the right person for me at an important moment in my life. And at this moment in our nation's history, she is exactly the right president. Thank you so much.
He's solid. He did good. I think he did pretty good. I think that role is always like such a tough thing to play when you're the spouse of a candidate. You know? Like you gotta like it's weird. But he's doing what he needs to do. Like she's supposed to be the fierce, like badass, and he's supportive of her. Ads are gonna run in a second. Let me just skip this shit. I don't get ads. Whatever. There you go. Fuck ads.
Please welcome former First Lady Michelle.
There we go. There we go. Pop out. Pop out and show them. Subbed in late. What's up, Wendy? It's the DNC, Wendy. Doug cooking. Michelle Obama just like, oh, you know, I'm about to kill this shit. People forget, like, Barack Obama, like, look, there are legitimate criticisms of Obama's presidency and everything like that, but, like, in politics, Obama is still got that politics.
Okay. We got a big night ahead. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much.
In the back of her mind, she's like, oh, yo, if I wanted the shit, I could take it. I could take it right now.
Hey.
Obama.
Hello, Chicago. Yeah.
Michelle Obama, for the rest of her life, just going to be like, oh, if I ever want to, I can.
Something wonderfully magical is in the air, isn't it? Yeah. You know, we're feeling it here in this arena, but it's spreading all across this country we love. A familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for far too long. You know what I'm talking about. It's the contagious power of hope.
Okay.
The anticipation, the energy, the exhilaration of once again being on the cusp of a brighter day. The chance to vanquish the demons of fear, division, and hate that have consumed us and continue pursuing the unfinished promise of this great nation, the dream that our parents and grandparents fought and died and sacrificed for. America, hope is making a comeback.
Let's go.
Yeah. But to be honest, I am realizing that until recently, I have mourned the dimming of that hope. And maybe you've experienced the same feelings, that deep pit in my stomach, a palpable sense of dread about the future. And for me, that mourning has also been mixed with my own personal grief. The last time I was here in my hometown was to memorialize my mother, the woman who showed me the meaning of hard work and humility and decency, the woman who set my moral compass high and showed me the power of my own voice. Folks, I still feel her loss so profoundly. I wasn't even sure if I'd be steady enough to stand before you tonight, but my heart compelled me to be here because of the sense of duty that I feel to honor her memory and to remind us all not to squander the sacrifices our elders made to give us a better future.
She got it, bro.
You see,
She got it.
my mom, in her steady, quiet way, lived out that striving sense of hope every single day of her life. She believed that all children, all people have value, that anyone can succeed if given the opportunity. She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed. They understood that it wasn't enough for their kids to thrive if everyone else around us was drowning.
You know why she's the goat at this shit? Because she doesn't just stay at this. She has perfect trauma. Like, she takes it down to a silent moment.
Kids on the block. She was glad to do the thankless, unglamorous work that for generations has strengthened the fabric of this nation. The belief that if you do unto others, if you love thy neighbor, if you work and scrape and sacrifice, it will pay off. If not for you, then maybe for your children or your grandchildren.
She's just crushing it, dude.
Values have been passed on.
Everybody's quiet.
Family farms,
no talking. Everybody's quiet.
Towns, through tree-lined streets and crowded tenements, through prayer groups and National Guard units and social studies classrooms. Those were the values my mother poured into me until her very last breath.
When is Matt Bender speaking
Kamala
on stage?
Harris and I built our lives on those same foundational values. Even
Matt
though
Bender's
our
right after
mothers
this.
grew up an ocean apart, they shared the same belief in the promise of this country.
Thank you for the $2 super chat.
That's why her mother moved here from India at 19. It's why she taught Kamala about justice.
Thanks, J. Cass.
About the obligation to lift others up, about our responsibility to give more than we take. She'd often tell her daughter, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So, with that voice in her head, Kamala went out and she worked hard in school, graduating from an HBCU.
Are we doing this on election?
Earning her law degree at a state school. And then
maybe,
she went
Kate,
on
maybe I'll
to
think
work
about it.
for the people,
I
fighting
may be
to hold
terrified.
lawbreakers accountable,
So we gotta see.
strengthening the rule of law, fighting to get folks better
But I'd like
wages,
to.
cheaper prescription drugs, a good education, decent health care, child care, elder care. From a
course, Truth
middle-class
Seeker. Hi,
household,
welcome in.
Kamala worked her way up to become Vice President of the United States of America. My girl,
Let's go.
Kamala Harris, is more than ready for this moment. She is one of the most qualified people ever to seek the office of the presidency.
Also, the way Michelle Obama, listen, there's a bunch of
Dignified.
There's a bunch of
tribute
pablum and all this
to
kind of
her
stuff,
mother,
but
to my mother, and to your mother too. The embodiment
Obama just sounds
of the stories
sounds
we
like she
tell
means it.
ourselves about this country. Her story is your story.
Yes.
It's my story. It's the story of the vast majority of Americans trying to build a better life. Look, Kamala knows, like we do, that regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love, how you worship, or what's in your bank account, we all deserve the opportunity to build a decent life. All of our contributions deserve to be accepted and valued. Because No one has a monopoly on what it means to be an American. No one.
Let's go. Good line.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward.
Shots for states
We
one.
will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
Michelle Obama crushing it, dude. Easy. Easy money.
If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things
Gold
don't
medal.
go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No.
Let's go. Let's go.
We don't get to
Spit.
change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top.
Let's fucking go!
No.
Spit that shit!
We put our heads down. We get to work. In America, we do something. And throughout her entire life, that's what we've seen from Kamala Harris. The steel of her spine.
Let's fucking
the
go.
steadiness of her upbringing, the honesty of her example, and yes, the joy of her laughter and her light.
Clutch, dude.
It couldn't be more obvious. Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
There it is. There it is. Bars for days.
Now,
Shooting for Harris.
unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
Let's go! Such a clear reference to the birth of it. Yeah, call that motherfucker out.
Who's gonna tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Yo! Bar! Let's go!
It's his same
They need more speakers like that. Like no more Katie Hochul. Like I get it.
Doubling down on
But
ugly,
bro,
misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real
AOC,
ideas and
Kerr,
solutions
her.
that will actually make people's
Doug's
lives
alright.
better. Look, because cutting our health care, taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters. Shutting down the Department of Education, banning our books, none of that will prepare our kids for the future. Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love, look, that doesn't make anybody's life better.
She got that Tim Wall. You know Tim Walls, right? She had it first, but like her and Walls have the same kind of like, yo, I'm going to take this concept that has so many talking points and simplify this for you so anybody can agree with it. Smart.
Going small is never the answer. Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm sorry. When they go low, we smack them in the face. I'm sorry. I'm on that trip right now.
Accept this from anyone seeking our highest office. Why would we normalize that type of backward leadership?
There it is.
Doing so only demeans and cheapens our politics. It only serves to further discourage good, big-hearted people from wanting to get involved at all. America, our parents taught us better than that.
Yep.
And we deserve so much better than that. That's why we must do everything in our power to elect 2 of those good, big-hearted people. There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No other choice.
Get him. Get him. When they go low, I go lower. What's up, Lewis?
Embrace this renewed sense of hope. Let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good. But remember, there are still so many people who are desperate for a different outcome, who are ready to question and criticize every move Kamala makes, who are eager to spread those lies, who don't want to vote for a woman, who will continue to prioritize building their wealth over ensuring that everyone has enough. So no matter how good we feel tonight or tomorrow or the next day, this is going to be an uphill battle. So folks,
it's smart to phrase it like that too.
Our own worst enemies. No. Because the minute something goes wrong, the minute a lie takes hold, folks, we cannot start wringing our hands. We cannot get a Goldilocks complex about whether everything is just right. And we cannot.
I get her sentiment. I think she's got to rephrase. That's not a great phrasing because a lot of people are not going to take that out of context.
Someone like Kamala, instead of doing everything we can to get someone like Kamala elected.
I think, listen, I get what she's saying, but like, that's a talking point people are prepped for, so she's got to be better.
They have lived amazing lives, and I am confident that they will lead with compassion, inclusion, and grace. But they are still only human.
Who needs Comedy Central? We have the DNC.
They are not perfect. And like all of us, they will make mistakes. But luckily, y'all, this is not just on them. No, this is up to us, all of us, to be the solution that we seek. It's up to all of us to be the antidote to the darkness and division. Look, I don't care how you identify politically, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above. This is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right.
That's more solid.
To stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity.
Because what Michelle Obama represents, the more she just talks about that fundamental fight about morals, it just works out.
For the values at the very foundation of this democracy. It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain.
I'm skipping ads for you guys.
Do something. So, if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something.
Good shit.
If we start
Good
feeling
messaging.
Tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what?
Smart.
We only have 2.5 months, y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan. So, we cannot afford for anyone America to sit on their hands and wait to be called. Don't complain if
of course, guys.
no one from the campaign
I'm not going to make you watch an ad during this speech.
to you to ask you for your support. There is simply no time for that kind of foolishness. You know what you need to do. So, consider this to be your official ask. Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something.
Solid. With the do something, go Kamala Harris. Yeah, good shit.
Because you all, this election is going to be close. In some states, just a handful, listen to me, a handful of votes in every precinct could decide the winner. So we need to vote in numbers that erase any doubt. We need to overwhelm any effort to suppress us. Our fate is in our hands. In 77 days, we have the power to turn our country away from the fear, division, and smallness of the past. We have the power to marry our hope with our action. We have the power to pay forward the love, sweat, and sacrifice of our mothers and fathers and all those who came before us. We did it before, y'all, and we sure can do it again. Let us work like our lives depend on it. And let us keep moving our country forward and go higher, yes, always higher than we've ever gone before as we elect the next president and vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thank you all. God bless.
Crushed it. Crushed it. Probably also the smartest and most strategic speech of the whole night so far. First off, every other person who has been talking has been just hyping up, like, Kamala Harris is great, Kamala Harris is great. Michelle Obama is the only person who...
Before I go...
Oh, she's going to introduce her husband.
I have one more job tonight.
There you go.
Yeah. One more job. You all, thank you for all the love, but it is now my honor to introduce somebody who knows a whole lot about hope. Someone who has spent his life strengthening our democracy, and let me tell you, as someone who lives with him, he wakes up every day, and thinks about what's best for this country.
Kendrick. It's Kendrick.
Please
I know it's Kendrick.
Welcome
I know it's Kendrick.
America's 44th.
Just here, I see that Obama comes out crip walking.
Thank you, thank you.
What if Biden came off?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's enough. Thank you. Chicago! It's good to be home. It is good to be home, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up.
There we go. Spit that shit. Spit that shit.
I am feeling ready to go. Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama.
This dude don't need a teleprompter.
I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
Let's go. Spit that shit.
Because we have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you. The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
This night has so much more energy than last night.
It's been 16 years since
It's also earlier.
I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back, I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president.
Those who just like the Goldilocks question, how should Dems handle the Dems who won't vote for Kamala because she's not perfect? She was handling it well, Kirsten. I think that she needs to, like, when she was handling it, like, it was a moral imperative and what you're actually fighting against. If you look at those substantive issues, they work better because the Goldilocks thing's been done enough. So as soon as you hear that, it triggers that, oh, this is just a talking point response. What she was doing before that was super well positioned. I get the sentiment, but I'm saying, like, she was already crushing it. It's like, don't overplay your hand. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
His hard-earned resilience, his unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot. And over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most.
I think a good example is, like, look at right now. Like, he's talking about Biden's record. Biden, whether you like him or not, he's an unpopular president. You can see, like, the audience applause. It's lower. It's like, oh, great. But as soon as he's talking his shit about change, about the things that needs to happen, people are dialed in. You know what I'm saying? This is just politics, I'm saying.
15 million jobs, higher wages,
for sure, Kirsten. I'm not trying to single you out or anything like that.
At a time when the other party had turned into a cult of personality, we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country.
When he talks about that, I think people get fired up.
History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend. Now, the torch has been passed.
There we go.
Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight. For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes.
That's great, not a cool girl.
This will still be a tight race in a closely divided country. A country where too many Americans are still struggling. Where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help. And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Cute, cute, cute. He got him. Cute. That was it. Cute. Cute. That's sick. Bars. Bars.
And on. The other day I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president, it's just dangerous. The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his rich friends. He killed a bipartisan immigration deal written in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress that would have helped secure our southern border because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign. He doesn't. Do not boo. Vote.
He's doing all right here. He's very chill. I think he's a little bit lost in thought process. He's doing good.
Women lose their reproductive freedom.
After Michelle Obama, that's tough
to follow. His life. And most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the real Americans, who of course support him, and the outsiders who don't. And he wants you to think that you'll be richer and safer if you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place. It is one of the oldest tricks in politics from a guy whose act has, let's face it, gotten pretty stale. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
Cute. Good line.
America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
There we go. They're waiting for him to amp her up. He shouldn't have started with Joe. I get the Joe thing, but he should have started amping her up.
And Kamala Harris is ready for the job. This is a person who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and a champion. As you heard from Michelle, Kamala was not born into privilege. She had to work for what she's got. And she actually cares about what other people are going through. She's not the neighbor running the leaf blower. She's the neighbor rushing over to help when you need a hand.
Good metaphor.
As a prosecutor, Kamala stood up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse. As an attorney general of the most populous state in the country, she fought big banks and for-profit colleges, securing billions of dollars for the people they had
Judge
scammed.
I don't remember him ever saying that.
After the home mortgage crisis, she pushed me and my administration hard to make sure homeowners got a fair settlement.
$250K is the president's salary.
Didn't matter that she had knocked on doors
At the
for
time.
my campaign in Iowa. She was going to fight to get as much relief as possible for the families who deserved it. As vice president, she helped take on the drug companies to cap the cost of insulin, lower the cost of health care, give families with kids a tax cut. And she is running for president with real plans to lower costs even more and protect Medicare and Medicaid and sign a law to guarantee every woman's right to make her own health care decisions. In other words, Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is. And in the White House, she will have an outstanding
I'm going to keep this vid up, Jamie.
in Governor Tim Walz.
Yeah, Judge Oken, like I don't think he said that because 50K was considered middle class a few years ago.
Let me tell you something. I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet.
There we go.
They have been through some stuff. They have been through some stuff. That's right.
Oh, is that his wife?
Together, Kamala and Tim have kept faith with America's central story. A story that says we are all created equal.
Kamala. Lily buffs? Yeah.
All of us endowed with certain inalienable rights, that everyone deserves a chance, that even when we don't agree with each other,
Kamala said our first order of business is
find a
Lily
way
buffs and SF6.
to live with each other.
That's
Kamala's vision.
That's a wealthy tax cut.
That's Tim's vision. That's the Democratic Party's vision. And our job over the next 11 weeks is to convince as many people as possible to vote for that vision. Now, it won't be easy. The other side knows it's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism, always has been. They will tell you that government is inherently corrupt, that sacrifice and generosity are for suckers. And since the game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own. That's the easy path. We have a different task. Our job is to convince people that democracy can actually deliver. And in doing that, we can't just point to what we've already accomplished. We can't just rely on the ideas of the past. We need to chart a new way forward to meet the challenges of today. And Kamala understands this. She knows, for example, that if we want to make it easier for more young people to buy a home, we need to build more units and clear away some of the outdated laws and regulations that made it harder to build homes for working people in this country. That is a priority, and she's put out a bold new plan to do just that.
It's a smart thing for him to defend that, because people were coming after her about that.
On health care, we should all be proud of the enormous progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage, protecting millions more from unscrupulous insurance practices. I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it
Today,
Obamacare
middle class is at 500K? No. I have.
But Kamala knows we can't stop there, which is why
I'm technically middle class. I don't make 500K. That's crazy.
Kamala knows that if we want to help people get ahead,
if you make 400K or over, you're in the 1%, by the way.
Within reach of more Americans. But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class. We need to follow the lead of governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government.
Yeah.
And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares about the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work, to care for our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages. We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president. Yes, she can.
Oh, there it is. Smart. There it is. There it is.
Yes, she can.
Done. That's the bar.
A Harris
there it is.
Administration
there it is.
Can help us move past some of the tired old debates that keep stifling progress. Because at their core, Kamala and Tim understand that when everybody gets a fair shot, we are all better off.
Except
They
Lily.
understand
Lily
that
should remain
when
where
every
she
child
is
gets a
in the
good
tier
education,
list.
The whole economy gets stronger.
Buff for
when women
you
are
again.
paid the same as men for doing the same job, all families benefit.
There we go. Now he's cooking. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a point where he has to play to the party like orthodoxy, and when he breaks from it and he's talking to just people directly, it kills.
Just like we can
Michelle does because she's not a politician. She can hit that shit really easy.
Trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve and eliminating bias, that will make it better for everybody.
Somebody said, yes, she can, and he repeated it. And it caught on like
Donald
wildfire.
Trump and his well-heeled donors, they don't see the world that way. For them, one group's gains is necessarily another group's loss.
Isn't necessarily.
For them, freedom means that the powerful can do pretty much what they please. Whether it's fire workers trying to organize a union, or put poison in our rivers, or avoid paying taxes like everybody else has to do. Well, we have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for your family if you're willing to work hard. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send your kids to school without worrying if they'll come home.
Middle class, 104.75K. I don't want to disagree with you, James, but I live in one of the most expensive states. And my girl does not make
our family
that much
looks
money,
like,
and she's
how many
pretty
kids we
well.
have,
Like I'm
who
just
we
saying.
marry.
I get it. Like in certain places,
And we believe
100%.
that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay.
I may be wrong, James. I'm not trying to argue with you, brother.
That's the America Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believe in. An America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our
was a
politics
bad camera
might
cut.
suggest, I think most Americans understand that. Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by. It's the way we treat each other, including those who don't look like us, or pray like us, or see the world exactly like we do. That sense of mutual respect has to be part of our message. Our politics have become so polarized these days that all of us across the political spectrum seem so quick to assume the worst in others, unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side. And after a while, regular folks just tune out, or they don't bother to vote. Now, that approach may work for the politicians who just want attention and thrive on division, but it won't work for us. To make progress on the things we care about, the things that really affect people's lives, we need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices, and that if we want to win over those who aren't yet ready to support our candidates, we need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all, if a parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people.
If he actually believed what he said, he would have backed Bernie, or at the very least stayed out of the last race.
That they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up.
Politics is complicated.
Our fellow citizens deserve the same
There was a lot of
grace
polling stuff in there,
we
too.
hope they'll extend to us.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
That's how we can build a true Democratic majority, one that can get things done. And by the way, that does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off.
Skip ads.
No nation, no society has ever tried to build a democracy as big and as diverse as ours before. One that includes people that over decades have come from every corner of the globe. One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood, but by a common creed. And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer. And dictators and autocrats feel emboldened. And over time, we become less safe. We shouldn't be the world's policemen, and we can't eradicate every cruelty and injustice in the world. But America can be and must be a force for good. Discouraging conflict, fighting disease, promoting human rights, protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom, brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, And so do most Americans. Now, I know these ideas can feel pretty naive right now. We live in a time of such confusion and rancor, with a culture that puts a premium on things that don't last. Money, fame, status, likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones.
He needs a little bit more energy here.
We build all manner of walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other, control each other.
I get the idea. He's trying to encourage dialogue
each other.
and trying to encourage engagement in some way, and I get that.
But here's the good news, Chicago. All across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors. We still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. We share the same pride when our Olympic athletes compete for the gold.
I mean, he's killing it on numbers right now.
Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided. We want something better. We want to be better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these past few months because, as Michelle mentioned, this summer we lost her mom, Ms. Marion Robinson. And I don't know that anybody has ever loved their mother-in-law any more than I love mine. Mostly it's because she was funny and wise and the least pretentious person I knew.
He has a great story about her
and she
on
always
election night.
defended me with Michelle when I messed up. I'd hide behind her. But I also think one of the reasons Mary and I became so close was she reminded me of my grandmother, the woman who helped raise me as a child. And on the surface, the two of them did not have a lot in common. One was a black woman from right here, south side of Chicago, right down the way. Went to Englewood High School. The other was a little old white lady born in a tiny town called Peru, Kansas. Now, I know there aren't that many people from Peru.
Cute.
And yet they shared a basic outlook on life. They were strong, smart, resourceful women, full of common sense, who, regardless of the barriers they encountered, and women growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they encountered barriers. They still went about their business without fuss or complaint and provided an unshakable foundation of love for their children and their grandchildren. In that sense, they both represented an entire generation of working people who, through war and depression, discrimination and limited opportunity, helped build this country. A lot of them toiled every day at jobs that were often too small for them and didn't pay a lot. They willingly went without.
Hey guys, let's not snipe at each other in the chat. I know it's getting a little
keep
contentious.
a roof over their families' heads, just to give their children something better. But they knew what was true. They knew what mattered. Things like honesty and integrity, kindness and hard work. They weren't impressed with braggarts or bullies. They didn't think putting other people down lifted you up or made you strong.
Here's the thing.
They didn't.
It's not that he's doing a bad speech. It's that it's just this is stuff that everybody else has modeled their speech around for the last 2 days. He is doing effectively that speech, but better than them, and that's fine. But the thing is that because every other politician modeled their speech around this, it's not hitting as hard as it can. It'll hit hard with who it needs to, but it's not like Michelle Obama's speech hit every single note. She fucking crushed that shit.
Go places that they would have never imagined for themselves.
He's still got some strong spots, like the Yes She Can was a great spot. Him doing the Don't Boo vote, great callback.
Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in between, we have all had people like that in our lives. People like Kamala's parents, who crossed oceans because they believed in the promise of America. People like Tim's parents, who taught him about the importance of service. Good, hard-working people who weren't famous or powerful, but who managed in countless ways to leave this country just a little bit better than they found it.
My cats are crying outside the door.
As much
Obama
as
speaking,
any policy or program, I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of civil war, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about. And I believe that's why if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors, if we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States and Tim Walz as the next Vice President of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in, and together we too will build a country that is more secure and more just.
Thank you, Hawkwood Squirrel, for the $2.
And more free. So let's get to work. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty, 100% on that speech. Like, it's not like Obama still is probably one of the most talented politicians, like, period, point blank, right? If we're going by basketball terms, that is an Anthony Edwards level in the Olympics performance. Good, he had some great slams, but Steph Curry just knocked 4 buckets out before him. Okay, so that's great. He's very, very good. He's solid. He's clearing up the other posts, right? I think we have to understand that there's a wider electorate. There are leftists and there are liberals, right? It's a Big Ten party. The wider electorate and independents is who Obama is meant to, like, punch for, and I think Michelle does a better job, right, communicating that. I think he's definitely trying to call back to 2008. I mean, that's their goal. Is they want to call back to 2008 level Obama, crushing it, You know?
Please stand if you are able for this evening's benediction, offered by Bishop Samuel L. Green Sr. and His Eminence Archbishop Alpidophoros of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America.
I respect that. I'm super Muslim though.
God of our weary years, God
I appreciate it. I'll let that play lower.
Thou who hast
I don't want to disabuse anybody of their beliefs.
along the way.
Look, I think Obama did a great job. I think honestly this night compared to night one. Let me change my little thing look. Hi. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so like dark in this right now. How am I looking now? Cool. All right. Good. All right. I think when it comes to like what we're talking about when it's like the Obamas and everything like that and them giving speeches, we have to really consider what the audience is, what we're talking about. I think a big issue when it comes to politics and playing politics is I don't think it's even necessarily that people want only their views met. I think that they think their views are always the majority. And you have to understand, if you are more politically engaged than most people, automatically your views are not the deciding views. Your views are support, your views are a base, but when it comes to the deciding parts of the election, it's people who are less engaged and figuring out how much they will engage with your message down the line for that. So when it comes to Michelle Obama, that is an effective fucking speech. Any independent who sees that is going to immediately, like, they're going to be fired up. They're going to be like, okay, I'm going to look into this Kamala Harris stuff. I think Obama's speech is specifically for people who were, and you saw it in 2016, Obama-Trump voters. Like, let's be very real. Like, of course, there are people who are like, I know the fear is like people who are disengaged and will vote for Jill Stein and everything like that. Especially with the effects over the last week, especially with the way people are reacting to Kamala Harris's candidacy. I think the defense on that is already starting, right? Of people like, and especially Jill Stein and her association with Assad and other people who are genocidal, like that's not hitting as well, except for some very, 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 very tanky people. Not to disabuse if you're supporting Jill Stein. I mean, I very much so disagree with you, but I'm not trying to make fun of you. But I'm saying overall in the electorate, you have a bunch of different things happening. And the main thing I think is, like, you have to approach messaging to different groups differently, right? So when I said the thing for Michelle Obama probably did the most S tier. She was Yoon in Third Strike. She was Steph Curry at the buzzer. She knocked it out of the park every time. The only thing I criticized her on was the golden rule. Like, we can't expect everything to be perfect thing. Not because it's not the right messaging or it's not the idea isn't there. It's because when you're speaking specifically, the people she's trying to convince, when they hear the language in that specific way, specifically the way it's phrased there, right? Because it makes them assume that, oh, we just want to be perfect, as opposed to, like, I understand the notion, and maybe it's right or maybe it's wrong, but like the way it presents, those people are not going to move on that alone. However, everything else in her speech, there are multiple times where she had things in her speech that speaks to those people specifically that is immediately effective on them. And you can see, if you go on Twitter right now, or X, I know X is not indicative of everybody, but you'll see people say, hey, nobody makes me live out like Michelle Obama. People are she's the top trending thing on X, right? And she's the top trending thing on X is because she's the most effective orator in that party, period, point blank, no holds barred, right? I think Barack is speaking more, let's be very real, to that centrist crowd, to that Gen X crowd, to those Obama-Trump voters who, who's this guy?
Tomorrow.
Oh, dude is.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Oh, they're doing a roll call again.
All those opposed, say nay.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, like in terms of like he's speaking to one specific crowd. They ended on time today. I think overall his speech is not as good as Michelle's. It's effective for what he needs to be. He's solid. He's a good orator. He could have done better. I think when he hits the campaign trail, that'll be more effective. He's better on his feet. Like, those were very prepared remarks. I think partially, my guess is probably he didn't prep the speech as long as he should have, because you could see some hesitancy when Michelle like greeted him. Just like, okay, do your thing. I'll bet you that he kind of had some of it in there, and they probably changed certain things, because the way he was reading off the teleprompter, he seemed like he was stumbling just a little bit. Michelle was on command with that prompter, so that could have been it. But I mean, I'm not gonna say the only reason I'm a little disappointed by it is just because, like, that dude, literally 2020, that dude came to bat for Biden, and a lot swung for Biden in that way, right? Like, he was a very, very huge punching arm for Biden politically there. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Still solid, very different audience that's there. I think specifically for these next 2 days, and if you seen the report, Kamala started to hire people from the Obama campaign instead of Biden loyalists, which I think is a good idea. Biden's version of politics is this very old school, like, I am from fucking, like, not like, honestly from like the 90s or the 80s style politics. Like, oh, everybody is either a Gen Xer or a senior, right? And like, I'm not trying to be ageist on it, but he has a very old school style of politics. Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, all of them are the new school style. Obama is like modern day mid 2000s politics. Michelle is on point. Michelle is following trends. So I think when it comes to that, you know, Kamala speaks more currently, having that edge, like Kamala's back, like understanding who she's talking to, speaking directly to people, that shit works really well. If you saw how she talked about her economic policy, she seems on it. She seems engaged. You know, like, trying to script it into this moment doesn't work as well. When you're off the cuff, it works really, really, really well. And the biggest issue with Republicans, and specifically the reason I didn't stream the RNC, aside from the fact that I don't like streaming political conventions. The only reason I'm streaming this... Hold on. What's up? I'm streaming right now. my girlfriend's home. But look, I probably gotta get off for a second because she's got stuff to do in here. But look, I think overall it was a much more effective night. Way better than last night for multiple reasons, because it went late and I thought some of the speakers were not as effective. I love Steve Kerr though. And yeah, we're gonna have to see where it goes. I'll be back here tomorrow. I'll stream a little bit earlier. I just needed to see if I had the rights to stream this kind of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So look, appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching me do this. I'll be back tomorrow to stream some of it, some of the major speeches, and then I'll also be back on